One of my goals for 2026 is to read more Igbo because one of my life goals is to become fluent in Igbo language. I think one of the biggest reasons we don't achieve our goals in life is due to distraction. And now with social media, the distractions have exponentially amplified. We spend so much time being obedient to the algorithm that we forget about things that are important to us. That is why I decided to become intentional. And one of the things I have decided to do with intentionality is what I like to call scripture writing in Igbo. I learned about scripture writing from some people on YouTube like Patty Wilbanks, who rewrites the entire Bible by hand as a regular practice. However, she does it in English. There are other people who rewrite the Bible by hand in other languages, like a YouTuber named John Miles, who has decided to translate the entire New Testament on his own by hand to Greek, I think. Just search scripture writing on YouTube and you will see all the people who are engaging in this practice if you are interested. I actually started scripture writing before I heard about any of these people. Several years ago, I started writing the book of Genesis verse by verse as a tool to learn the Igbo language. I started with chapter 1, verse 1, and now you see that I'm on chapter 6, verse 18. You might be wondering why I use the Bible, or maybe you think you already know. Well, the reason I'm using the Bible is because it's one of the few books that exists in both Igbo and English. So I can read the Igbo version and go back to the English version for the meaning. So what I do is that each day I write one verse in English, then I go to my Igbo Bible and write one verse in Igbo language. Then I pick out a word I want to master that day because maybe I've never heard it before, and I make that word my Igbo word of the day. You can see my last Igbo word of the day is kubi ume, which means perish. I'm currently writing about Noah and the flood, and God was telling Noah that everything on earth will perish. I just thought of something actually. Something I could possibly do with my Igbo word of the day is I can try to use the word in a new Igbo sentence and post that sentence on Twitter. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Ikenga Nation to see my tweets. So for example, I can see in a new sentence, I can potentially say in a new sentence, ejikwala oko egwuregwu makana imeya iweriki kubiume, because kubiume means perish, right? Which means don't play with fire because if you do so, you can perish or die, you know? So after I'm done with today's scripture writing, you can leave a comment with your sentence using the Igbo word of the day. Today's verse is, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Which means in Igbo, ma ngeme ka ọgbụgbandum guzosi ike n'ebe nọ. Ị ga-abata kwa n'ụgbọ ahụ, gị onwe gị na ụmụ gị ndị ikom na nwunye gị na nwunye niile nke ụmụ gị ndị ikom, tinyere onwe gị. Which, I know I struggled a little bit pronouncing the words, but you get the point. So in choosing the word of the day, I have to choose a word that I am not familiar with or need a little refresher on. So I'll go with the word Obubandu. Yeah. That means covenant. I can see that because of the context. What I do, the way I figure that out is I look at the context clues around it. So right around where he's saying, but I will establish my covenant, he says, ma mge meka obubandum guzosiki. So when he says that, I know he's saying it around the same time he's saying it in Igbo, he's saying it in English. And I just know that that word is covenant because of context clues. I know what ngemeka and I know what guzosike nebino means. So I know right here he's talking about that covenant. Um, it helps if you know some Igbo, if you're familiar with Igbo, or also be making mistakes. So if you're trying to do this on your own, definitely see if you can get somebody who knows Igbo, who speaks Igbo, who can help you out with your translation, just to make sure you're not making mistakes. But I'm pretty sure Obandu means covenant. And if I'm wrong, um, if I'm wrong and you speak Igbo fluently, leave a comment. I'm always happy to help to receive correction. Obviously, I'm doing this to learn, so feel free to like correct me. But yeah, um if you want to like play along with me and make up a sentence with using the word of the day, feel free to leave a comment. But yeah, today's word of the day is obubandu, which means covenant. So um that's how I pretty much choose my word of the day. And I'll just go ahead and go with obubandu, which means covenant. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, just leave a comment using the word obubandu in a sentence, and I'll respond to your comment. But it'll also help the algorithm with my video. So please leave a comment using the word obubandu in a sentence. And thanks for watching. God dinner.